Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! We're back again today with my lovely wife, Melina, to check out Pandemic Legacy Season 1 from Z-Man Games. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 plus. It'll take about an hour to play, but that is a lie, because this is a legacy game, meaning you're going to have to play this 12 to 24 times in order to complete the game, so a lot more than 60 minutes in this box. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the game, we're going to tell you about what our initial thoughts on Pandemic as a whole is, and then we're going to give you our no baloney thoughts on the game. So before we get started, I want to mention this is going to be completely spoiler-free review. We're going to try and not spoil anything for you, which might make it a little bit difficult to talk about certain things at some points. But, starting off with it, Pandemic Legacy, you're going to be playing your typical game of Pandemic when you first start off. You're going to be going around the globe, curing diseases, you're going to have your own character with special abilities, doing 4 actions. But this game has some unique twists and turns, because when you win or when you lose, you're going to be able to upgrade various different things, including potentially upgrading your characters, doing this and doing that, getting relationships with different characters. So different characters will actually interact with each other differently depending on who's playing, who's doing what, which is interesting. The board is going to be modified. There's stickers that you're going to be placing all over cards and boards and your character sheet, all sorts of stuff like that. Also, your characters can die. Yes, if you gain too many scars, your character will die. And as you gain scars, your character will become less powerful. So there's lots of new twists and turns in the game. But let's start off with just Pandemic as a whole. What are your thoughts on Pandemic, the base game and expansions?
Oh, I love Pandemic. One of my favorite games.
We both do.
Ever.
It was the game that got me into the hobby. We played it tons and tons and tons of times. We love the expansions. So we, needless to say, had huge expectations for this game. I mean, astronomical. I've never pre-ordered a board game before, aside from Kickstarter stuff, and I did for this game. And I was super excited when it got here, and I wanted to play it immediately. And I hate to say it, but it didn't live up to the hype. It didn't even come close to the hype. And we're going to start off, normally I'd be telling you about all the different components and whatnot, showing you the board, but that would reveal spoilers to you. So we're just going to go straight into the pros and into the cons, and let's start on the cons side.
We also played it 2-player.
We did, yes. That's one thing I want to mention. We played it 2 players with 1 character apiece, so that is where our review is coming from. We won. We finished 12-2, so we did very, very successful. One of those, I don't think there was any chance we could have possibly won. But pros and cons. Con side, get going. Start it up. What you got on the con side?
It was not pandemic-y.
Well, gameplay-wise, it was.
Yeah, gameplay, but it was missing that intense.
Yes, it was easy
because we're not like amazing pandemic players.
No, we're not. I mean,
we lose probably most of the games that we play with the base game.
Well, I mean, we don't. I would say most of them, but we lose some.
We lose quite a bit of them.
And we're not playing with 6 Pandemic cards or anything like that. And the game, this Pandemic Legacy, had no real tension. It was way too easy. And more than half the games, we would get through about half of a game. And it was just, all right, we need to do this and do this and do this to continue the story. Like, it literally got to the point where, you play in some games where you know you're going to win. It's guaranteed that you're going to win. No one can possibly catch up to you. And a lot of the times you'll just quit that game and say, all right, you guys just want to call this. No one's going to catch up to this person. That's how we felt in this cooperative game halfway through a lot of the games.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, there were some games where we would have maybe 1 outbreak. I think we had a game where we had 0 outbreaks.
I think we had a couple of games where we had 0 outbreaks.
That's ridiculous. Now, I think part of that is because we found a really good combination of characters that work together with their relationships.
We did.
And I even tried to go to different characters to see, just because I didn't want it to be that easy and that routine. And we tried the other ones, and it was just like,
You just went back.
Yeah, because it was so overpowered.
Just made sense.
Yeah.
The combination between the 2 just made sense.
All right, and we're about to praise the story very heavily, but we do need to mention ending of the game. We've been going through this exciting, fantastic story, and then the end is just... It was a very lackluster, anticlimactic ending, which was very disappointing. You also had a con. Component-wise, components are very, very nice, but the stickers, some of the stickers...
Oh, the stickers were terrible.
I don't know if I'd say they were... Some of them were terrible, but not all of them.
We lost one.
All right. This isn't a spoiler, but the round stickers were terrible. I think the other stickers were fair.
Yeah.
And overall, the components in
Yeah,
this are
true.
very, very nice. The way everything is in the box is very, very nice. And there's a lot of components in here. Let me tell you, there's just
everything is very nice. It's all what you would expect from Pandemic.
So one more comment I do want to mention is that I feel like some people have said that you could switch up teammates in mid-game with this, like that someone could just jump in. And while I do agree with that, I don't think I would want to teach it.
I know.
Because
It
by
would
the
be
end,
too difficult.
yeah, by the end of this game, it's a very fiddly-esque game. I think fiddly is a fine word.
Even for somebody who knows how to play Pandemic, very seasoned with Pandemic, even all the expansions and everything, I think it would be difficult to jump into the middle of it because there's new rules and new things.
Yeah, there's
that
lots.
you would have to explain, and they just keep coming.
Yes, it's just like every month it's like, oh, here's a new rule. Here's a new thing you need to remember, which is fine when you're playing it the entire time. But if you wanted someone to jump into it, I don't think that'd be so good.
It doesn't work.
So the last con I need to mention, the obligatory con, is that this box is now a box of components. You cannot play this after you finish the game. We'll talk more about that in the pros, because it's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like we got our money's worth out of this to a certain degree, but some people are going to hark on that. Any more cons you can think of?
No.
All right. Moving on to the pros, what are the good things about Pandemic Legacy? Because we just slammed it. This is number 7 on Board Game Geek, and we just slammed it. What did you like about it?
The story is amazing.
The story is amazing, especially for a board game. I mean, it was gripping. Now, I mentioned that there were times where we were just playing through the motions, and we were just like, all right, we know we're gonna win. We just gotta do this, go cure here, do this. And even after one of those games, I still wanted to play it again, just to continue the story.
Oh, yeah.
You get like this pack of cards.
Both of us.
Yeah, that's secret, and you open them and you read off the story, and new and cool things happen, and that's the highlight of the entire game. Is just getting to different points and scratching off different things and getting new stickers and getting new upgrades and all that stuff is awesome. That's another thing I want to mention is the mechanics in this game are really cool.
Oh, yeah.
We mentioned how it does get somewhat fiddly towards the end because there's so many small moving parts, but they're really cool moving parts. There's some really cool ideas in this game that I would love to see implemented into the next Pandemic expansion, potentially.
They're really cool.
Another thing that I want to mention is that graphic design-wise, this is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't tend to mention graphic design, but the artwork really gets you into the game. Just everything about this works really cool, and there's a spot for everything on the board, in cards, all that sort of stuff, which is great. Components top-notch, except for the little fiddly stickers. And I'm trying to think of what else we really liked about this game. I mean, I felt like it still was Pandemic, and it still kept it going.
It was still fun. It was still a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said earlier, I do feel like we got our money's worth out of it.
Yeah, 14 games for, what, $60? Not bad.
Yeah, but it was still just kind of...
Ho-ho. So are you excited to play Pandemic Legacy Season 2?
Yeah, I just hope it's more intense.
Would you
Pandemic.
be more excited if we were playing it with, say, our son if he's old enough at that point? A 3-player game as opposed to a 2-player game.
Yeah, we would definitely have to add more players.
Yeah, I agree with
Not
that
just the two of us.
wholeheartedly because honestly, if we were going to play it 2 players, I don't even know if I'd want to. Because I feel like we're missing out. I really do. It's just so high on Board Game Geek, and I like so many games. If you watch my reviews, I know I'm a very positive reviewer most of the time. I love games, and this is just... I wanted to like it, and it's just... I don't know if you could tell, but each and every month that went by in the game, my excitement just dwindled slowly.
Well, we kept wondering...
When's it going to get exciting?
When's it going to get harder?
And it just never...
It never really did,
well,
except for that one game.
Yes, there's like...
one game.
There's one or two, maybe the last event too. There's like 2 events in the game where it's just like, easy. Hey, what's going on? And they just punch you in the face to make sure you're awake. So overall, Pandemic Legacy Season 1, good. It's a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And that's about as far as I'll go. At least 2 players. Very disappointed in the game, but it was still good. And I would love to play it. Oh, that's a good question. If another couple came up to us and said, we want to play a 4-player game of this with you, would you want to play through this experience? Again, knowing what you know about the game, though.
I think I would, just to see if it change the experience at all.
That's a good point. And I would let them make all the decisions too, because we would know quite a bit of what's coming up.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, so that is Pandemic Legacy Season 1 from Z-Man Games. It's good, and I can't really say much else other than that. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know if you could pick out any game to be a Legacy game. What would it be? Well, I put you on the spot there.
Oh, don't do that.
Come on, look over there. Pick something out. I would go Corporate America. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I would love to just have a Legacy game where the laws stay in place and, I don't know. They'd have to add new mechanisms to it, but I think that would be really cool. What do you think?
That would be interesting.
You just going to leech off mine? How about Lords of Waterdeep? I'll throw you a softball.
I love Lords of Waterdeep.
You don't want a Legacy version?
Sure.
Okay. There you go. Get on it,
Why not?
company that makes Lords of Waterdeep. Wizards of the Coast. As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.